Good morning, good evening to everybody joining us for another YGG Global Hangouts. I am your host, Fallen Corpses, as always, joined with AC. AC, my brother, how are you doing?
Hey, fine. I'm doing good, doing good. Let's go. YGG fam, GMGX, to all of our community out there who's watching in different platforms. We're here again for another exciting night.
Yeah, very exciting. As we're prepping for our Gap Season 10 here, we have, and I can finally say this, our first, and I think only returning game this season. Um,
Yeah.
DeFi Kingdoms, as I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. And we've got a lot of exciting updates to not only tell you about what's going to be happening with them for Gap Season 10, but just to give you some lowdown on all the amazing updates that they're coming out with for their game. I'm sure a lot of you tried it out last season. We had some really good turnout numbers there, but we've got some exciting things happening, such as tournaments, possibly airdrops, a little bit of airdrops for people that participated and are going to be participating. Also, for people that stick around to the end, there might be a special teaser trailer for Gap, and you might just get some leaks. So be sure to stick around. But without further ado, let's bring on our guests from the DeFi Kingdoms
Bring it
teams.
on.
We have a returning face here, Bolin. Hey, Bolin, how are you?
Hello, hello. I'm doing well, although I'm now feeling like my PFP is not good enough, and I need to get something going on.
You've got to get one of these moving avatars like all the cool kids have nowadays.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And we're joined by your partner in crime, Sunbear. Sunbear, what's up, bud?
Hey, good to be here. I am the partner in crime, and I'm also jealous of the PFP. Bull on yours definitely needs a giant mullet of some kind. I feel it. It's got to be wavy. It's
Yeah,
got to
for
be
sure.
happening.
You've got to take one of your hero avatars and like make that into a VTuber thing.
Bring it
Yeah.
to life.
I knew it.
Exactly.
Great to be
I-
here.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. You guys kind of hit it out of the park last season. Like we got some serious turnout numbers for you guys. Like I was going for the submissions. I think we had well over 12,000 submissions there, which is pretty good.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. That was our first season as being part of Gap, and it was incredible. So it was super cool to get connected with the YGG audience and start getting them involved, and it's something that we want to just keep building on.
I mean, every step of the way, it's been a good experience with YGG from when we went to our first summit this last year, and then giving it a try out with this first Gap campaign. I think we've made some nice tweaks, gotten some good feedback along the way, and I think this one's going to be even way better.
Yeah, I hope we didn't. Did we end up breaking anything with the amount of people that were kind of flooding in for signing up or running patrols or anything like that?
We're
Thankfully,
used to we're used to breaking things like chains and stuff like that, but I think we handled this one.
yeah,
Excellent.
we
Yeah,
do
you.
have a reputation for that, though.
We sure do. But that means that you guys have at least your system's pretty polished then, if that wasn't the case, which is always good.
Yeah. After we took a couple chains down several times, we made sure that we would never be the problem. So yeah, we're here for it. We love it. We love to see the volume, and we love to see people getting involved.
Excellent. So speaking of changes and stuff, is there anything from last season? Because again, we've had what, maybe I don't know, a few weeks. I don't even know if it's a full month since Gap Season 9 ended. Is there any big changes that you guys have made to your game itself? Like any updates?
Yeah, so we actually have made a few updates, which will hopefully make this Gap season even more fun. So we are making some pretty big changes to the Gap campaign, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But for right now, one of those changes is this last Gap season. Our quests focused pretty heavily on what we call our patrols, which is like our entry level combat. Um, we actually made a tweak there, uh, like right after the season ended, unfortunately, to make it that much easier for level 1 heroes. So we added a bit of a buff for specifically level 1 heroes, because that's what patrols is meant to be, levels 1 through 10, and you can do it with higher level heroes as well, but it's designed for those levels. And we felt like it was a little bit too hard at level 1. So we actually added a buff for level 1 heroes on that front. Outside of that, we've also had 2 pretty major feature releases. The first one is that we have introduced another class into our combat system. So for those of you who participated last season, you likely remember, while we have several classes, there were only a smaller selection that were available in the combat. I'm building that out. So we have released another one, which is the Wizard. So you now actively use Wizard in combat. And that's something that we're going to be really focused on moving forward, is continuing to get the rest of the classes added to the combat system as well. So that share of classes just keeps growing. And then we also released another feature. So was it during gap season or right before? I think it was during gap season. We launched our tournament feature, where we have actual ongoing structured tournaments with big prizes, and you can participate in player versus player combat. But we also launched a secondary piece of that, which is what we're calling our hosted tournament system, which essentially allows anyone to come in and set up their own tournament with their own rules, their own guidelines, their own prizes. So that's something that we've already seen our community start taking advantage of and spinning up their own tournaments with what they think would be really fun. But it's also something that we have that we're lining up with some partners as well to come in and sponsor some tournaments. So there's going to be more and more opportunity on that front as well, as a way to get involved.
Yeah, we've got some exciting news about tournaments, especially with on-chain guilds, that we'll be touching on a little bit here. But I just want to bring up Sunbear's screen, and then that way we can kind of get a better idea. So why don't we tease that new character, or that new class, I should say. Maybe you can tell us what's different about that, because I'm sure. Look at that. Look, those are all your heroes. Yeah.
Ooh, new
Flexing.
metas will arise.
Yeah, Sunbear's showing off in the background.
I'm not flexing. I'm not.
Yeah, so we introduced Wizard. So Wizard fills a really Wizard is the first hero to fill a really fun gap that we had in our, no pun intended, in our combat system so far, by being our first magical ranged damage class. So Wizard is a lot of fun to play with, and it introduces a new resource, which is called Arcane Power. So as you cast spells with your Wizard, you generate Arcane Power, and then you can use that Arcane Power to charge up bigger spells and just do large blast radius damage. So they're more of the glass cannon kind of style. They tend to be a little squishier. You got to protect them a little bit while you build them up, and then they just burst out huge splash damage against the entire opponent team. So it's a lot of fun. It's honestly rapidly become my favorite class so far, but it's definitely a new aspect to the combat system. Whereas before you had healers, tanks, and damage dealers, there were no magic damage dealers yet. So really excited to see that come to life with Wizard. And like I said before, new classes in combat is something that we're going to be focusing more on in the short term. So we're expecting to see that train continue. So keep an eye out, because there may be more classes coming sooner than you might think.
Yeah, and on that note there, I know last season we were talking about it, and I bought some heroes that didn't have skills that could be used. Are all those heroes able to be used now? Do they have skill sets and stuff?
Not all of them yet, but they will. So right now we've got 7 essentially. So Archer, Priest, Knight, Warrior, Seer, Berserker, and now Wizard. And then we're going to be working on cranking out the rest.
Okay, so I'm probably still benching my Scholar. I think it was it Scholar?
For the time being, we do have a scholar. I think it might have been, yeah. For the time being, yes, but not forever.
Yeah.
Hopefully not for long.
Well, as you said, right, in the near term, that's really what one of your big push, I guess, on your roadmap, right? You've released a wizard, so that kind of means that you're working on as many new classes as you can, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's classes have always been a priority to us. And then we had to slightly back burner them temporarily. We got a grant to build our player versus player combat. So part of that grant included timelines. We had to fulfill those timelines. So we had to, rearrange some resources, but we've completed that. We do still have some stuff that we're going to do in terms of player versus player because we want it and it's fun and it's going to make the experience better. But we've finished our initial build out, which now lets us reallocate resources again into some different priorities, and classes is definitely on that list.
Super exciting. I always love when games add, especially new classes, because it really shakes up like what the meta is, right? So
Yep.
far, you always have your front line, your back line, and your kind of center.
Yep.
It's always nice to have something that shifts the meta around.
And it's going to be fun because every time a new class comes out, that meta is going to change, and it's just going to keep evolving. And especially, we've got 7 right now. You use 3 heroes now. Most of the time, you can use multiple heroes of the same class if you want to. But when we've got 12 classes implemented, like there's going to be so many different options for team compositions that there shouldn't necessarily even be only one meta. There will be multiple metas and multiple counters to those metas because there'll be so much variety and so much option for people to play what they really enjoy as a play style.
Yeah, now speaking of metas, I guess this is a good segue into talking about tournaments, because tournaments are, if I'm understanding this correctly, like PvP, right?
Yes.
So metas obviously are big deal for PvP. How Let's talk a little bit about the tournaments as you're pulling up here, Perfect Sun Bear, and what people can expect, because it's a brand new mechanic. Here's a little tidbit: we are going to be running our own YGG tournament throughout the gap season. So like, what can people expect, and then maybe some tips for people
Yeah,
to
for sure.
maximize.
Yeah, super excited for the YGG tournaments. There will be plenty of information coming on those. So tournaments are player versus player. Obviously, your 3 heroes versus their 3 heroes. They are done like in real time. And then they are single elimination style. So essentially, you register for the tournament. In the case of the YGG one, you'll pre-register, which we'll talk about all of that. But you sign up for the tournament and you enter your team. And then once the tournament time comes, our system automatically rolls the bracket to pair everybody up. And so after that, it's single elimination style up until the championship, obviously. As far as tidbits go, honestly, the best piece of advice I can give you is play a couple practice matches before the tournament. It's rough if your first experience is tournaments. Now, I think many of you that participated last season did at least a few PvP matches, so you've gotten a little bit of experience under your belt. You don't have to practice obsessively or anything like that. I'm just saying, 1 or 2 just to get an idea of how the game flows, very beneficial. But it's a lot like, it's honestly chess in many ways of, have a strategy, react to what's happening to adapt that strategy and try to defeat your opponent. You go in obviously with your hero skills, just like any of our other combat. You also have potions at your disposal if you so choose. And yeah, it's a lot of it is team building as well, which I think there's some exposure from last season. There will also be some exposure in this season in other combat encounters, because a lot of that team building does carry over. There is some stuff here and there that works better in PvE versus PvP and vice versa. But in general, if you can build a good PvE team, you can apply those same principles to PvP.
Excellent. So now, on terms of like level playing field for this tournament, I saw obviously you can have different equipment. So equipment is going to play a big factor into it. You want to have as good equipment as you can. But what about levels? Like, are people's levels going to be kind of whatever they bring in, or is it going to be like a level playing field where everybody gets leveled up to level 10 or something like that?
That's one of the most beautiful things about this system is we have so many levers, so many variables that can be set. And so you can go in and actually find a tournament that matches the team that you've built out. Maybe they're all level 6s, maybe, or even maybe it's like, you have to have a certain type of like skin or visage to enter or something like that. Not foreshadowing or anything. But yeah, you can actually see exactly what all of those qualifications are for that specific tournament and then jump into it. And maybe it's going to be certain classes only or certain combinations. So it's very customizable, and that way you'll be able to kind of prepare yourself as you look ahead to what tournaments are out there of ones you want to jump in on. And like Bolin was saying, like the other things, for example, the patrols that I've got in here, if you've built out a solid PvE team, let's say at like level 7 to 9, you might be ready for a level 10 tournament because you've gone through, you've practiced, you've kind of sharpened those skills and how they work together. And those are the same principles you're going into the PvP environment with.
Excellent. Yeah. So it's really up to the user to kind of make sure that the tournament they're getting set up with has the right qualifications for their kind of level that they're going into, right? You have only yourself to blame if you go into a tournament that's level 10s or set up for level 10s, or you're like level 2.
Yeah, and generally speaking, we put a bottom end on it just to make sure nobody accidentally does that. I will say in the YGG tournaments themselves, we're still finalizing the details. The plan right now is to have 2, one mid-season and one a little later in, and one of those will have some restrictions on it, so it'll be potentially a little bit lower on the level side, maybe 10. Somewhere around there. Don't know for sure yet, so don't hold me to it. And then the second one, we may potentially just do wide open and bring the best that you've got. So there's a lot of options there as well in terms of what can be done.
Yeah, I was picking our buddy here, the one that's doing all of our quest design, Jules there, and I was kind of figuring out like, what the best kind of route for that is. And I think, again, we are leaning, this hasn't been finalized, just so people know, but we are leaning to, like you said, more of a kind of tamed level playing field for the first mid-season one, and then maybe an all-out one at the end. And also to reiterate, guys, like on-chain guilds are definitely going to be playing a part in these tournaments. We will be looking for each player to represent one of their on-chain guilds in said tournament. But yeah, the details are going to be fleshed out fairly soon as we are nearing the gap season. I don't have an exact date, but I've been told it's in a week or two is what we're looking for in the time frame, give or take. But there are definitely a lot of big things happening around that tournament one, and once we get the full information, you guys will be able to see that. In terms of how to sign up for these tournaments, when you enroll in the quest, there'll be also an enrollment form, and I think there is actually a cap too, if I remember correctly, on how many people are going to be joined. So spots aren't
Yes.
unlimited. It's going to be on a first come first serve basis, and you will have to have a guild associated with you. So if you don't have an on-chain guild yet, here's a little heads up to definitely go find one. There's lots of them. Right, AC, you've got your own guild as well.
Definitely will join in.
Yeah, so go find a
guild to win, but
we can't be choosing favorites. We have to.
They gotta earn it,
Exactly.
And yeah, there. So it is a capped tournament. So there will be limited slots, although we are making it pretty generous. And one thing too, just to reassure as well. I mentioned that the tournaments are played in real time. They are. So we're going to actually run it as multiple tournaments so that each tournament is shorter. Because if we put everybody in one giant tournament, it would be a pretty lengthy experience. So we're going to have, several tournaments go probably at the same time, and then everybody can jump into one of those tournaments in order to participate.
Yeah, it's going to be very much traditional tournament brackets, right? Where you have various brackets going on, and
Yep.
then we kind of amalgamate the people from all of those brackets into a single finalist bracket, so on and so forth. So anyone that's familiar with the tournament space, this is not going to be anything new or crazy.
Right.
But definitely, if you are interested, this is your little heads up to start talking to your guildmates and kind of prepping, because even though this is going to be like an individual based tournament where you're trying to do your best to compete individually and reach the top spot, you also want to be helping out your guild mates, because again, if a bunch of your guild members end up being top in the top places there's definitely going to be a guild related tournament quest. And so always keep that in the back of your mind when you're building your team competitions. You might want to keep some tips and some secrets close to your vest, but you also want to help out your fellow guild members to make sure that they're gonna have a decent time until they have to verse you. That is.
Exactly. But yeah, help them out. Practice with each other. You can lend each other heroes equipment. Like it does. From our side, like it doesn't make a difference as long as it's in that person's wallet when they sign up for the tournament. They can use it. So strategize.
Now, speaking of other quests this season, we're not going to obviously flesh out and give all the details for each gap quest. So you guys will have to wait for that. But, well, then maybe just tease kind of what you guys have been coming up with. So you said there's not going to be a heavy patrol focus as much this season again, but I'm assuming we're still going to have a quest around patrols.
So there will still be some patrols involved, yes. But yeah, we really wanted to, take this season and use the opportunity to introduce more of the game. So a lot of the people that I talked with last season who were participating, they were grinding out patrols, but they were really curious about everything else that DeFi Kingdoms has to offer, which is a lot. So this season we're going to have a little bit more variety. So patrols will still play a part. Obviously we've talked about tournaments. Tournaments will still play a part, but we are also going to be taking you guys over to Crystal Vale, which Crystal Vale is another one of our realms. So it is essentially another area of DeFi Kingdoms. This is Crystal Vale. It is this beautiful snowy land that just makes me happy because I love this map. But we're going to have some different quests on the Crystal Vale side of things to introduce you guys to some stuff that you haven't seen before in the gap season, at least. So I won't go too far, but I will say, one of the things that we really wanted to have with DeFi Kingdoms, just in general, one of the reasons that we built this game to begin with is that open world economy where everything is created and generated in game by players participating in the game. So there will be a handful of quests that focus around that resource creation, resource generation side of things in a few different ways that I'm really excited for you guys to kind of see more of that side of the game.
Yeah, I was checking out the other places too, and you definitely last season we definitely put people in what I feel like is one of the easiest realms to like kind of deal with, because your
Yes.
other realms are like they have so much stuff going on.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like how would somebody like transfer their heroes over to another realm? Because you obviously need heroes, right? And heroes need to move between the realms. They're not just on one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So every realm is going to have the docks. So these are the Crystal Vale docks. The Sundered Isle docks look the same, but more like islands. And then once you're in the docks, you speak with the dock master. And the dock master will serve for all of your bridging needs. You can bridge anything and everything for the most part. There's like 2 exceptions, but for everything relevant, you can bridge. So you go here, you go to bridge heroes. You can select as many heroes as you want. We'll batch them into however many transactions they need to be, but try to pack it as tight as we can. So you go in here, you select your heroes, hit continue. All of Sunbear's heroes right now are pledged, so he can't bridge them, but that's okay. And then you click bridge heroes, and it will bridge them over to the realm that they came from, which should be Crystal Vale for virtually all of them. Which one thing I just want to emphasize, I think all of our participants last season were really good about it, but we are here to help. Please use us as a resource. Obviously, we have our Discord server as well, but we also have the channel in the YGG Discord server. Use us. Tag me. You can tag me all day, every day for whatever you need. Happy to help. So please use us as a resource. We are taking this season a step further and getting you guys involved in more of the game. We anticipate that to come with questions. We're here to help. So yeah, Dock Master, to answer your actual question, is how you bridge anything that you need to bridge, and then it takes 10 seconds, and they're available in the other realm.
Yeah, and I guess if you have multiple heroes, right, you could have one team on one realm and one team on the other realm, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And yeah, you can bridge back and forth freely. That said, there is a small bridge fee from our bridge provider. So, you don't want to do it 18 times a day if you don't have to, right? So part of the game design is what we call legion management. So your heroes are your legion. You decide where your heroes are to do different activities.
Yeah.
And let's say you build up a team and you add their armor to them, special armor, kind of find that good balance, maybe even have a few pets following them around. When you bridge individual heroes, it takes everything with them, even their visages, the skins, the armor, the weapons, the pets that follow them, everything like that. So it makes it really easy to keep everything all connected and moving well together. And you can do I think up to 50 heroes, right, at once. So it's very versatile and very easy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We've tried to make that as simple as possible.
Yeah, the bridging and buying tokens was pretty straightforward. You guys definitely have a streamlined system once people get used to it, right? It can be pretty overwhelming with how much stuff you guys have, but the general gist of it is not horrible once you kind of figure out where to keep your focus, right?
Right. There's always a bit of a learning curve. One other thing that we are involving in this gap season, which I am just going to share with you guys, so here's some free alpha, is our PvE boss fights, which what we call our void hunts. So currently there are 2 void hunts. You go to them through the tavern, as you can see here, and then the gentleman behind the bar in the top left. But we have 2 void hunts. We have the Mad Boar Hunt and the Bad Mother Cluckers. The Mad Boar Hunt is meant for level 10 and above. Bad Mother Cluckers is meant for level 12 and above. But essentially, these are our harder PvE encounters. So for those of you, for example, last season you were doing patrols, those are meant to be like our entry level PvE. These are boss fights. So they're meant to be a little bit more challenging, more strategy involved. That said, actually one of our team members, who is our QA specialist, has made some tutorials. Also, many of our community members have also made some tutorials. So there's a lot of resources out there that can help guide you through these hunt experiences. But I'm really excited to show everybody kind of that next level of gameplay. Patrols are awesome. They're a lot of fun, but they're meant to be entry level. these are meant to be more challenging, more difficult, and really make you think and work a little bit harder for that victory. So I'm really excited to introduce these to the YGG community. I think it'll be a very welcome and refreshing change.
And another cool thing about them too is yes, it's higher strategy, higher level gameplay, but it also has each of the boss fights has its own drops that are unique and very, very good. For example, you'll see a sword come out of this one that's made of the tusks of the boar, for example. Yeah. Or from the Bad Mother Cluckers, you've got, well, the best weapon in the entire game called Excalibur. It's a giant kind of feather sword. So some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, so your higher level gear is coming from these.
Okay, so that's what we were seeing when you were using like your meta team there in the tournament there, because I've seen that person, like a bunch of all your characters there were like just decked out with crazy gear.
Yes, yeah, the vast majority of that gear comes from these hunts. The only exception to that is what actually comes from tournament play, because we do give some gear there as well. But yeah, the majority of your higher level better gear comes from the 2 void hunts. So you'll get some opportunities there. That actually, one other thing that I just wanted to mention in general, we are in the process currently, and I much like the new gap season, I don't have a date to give you yet, but we are in the process of doing some loot redistribution within the game. So as far as what currently comes from like void hunts and patrols and everything, we're not taking away from any of that, but we had a mini game feature that we released a while back that we are scaling back on the rewards that come from that to reallocate them to various portions of the game. But hunts and patrols are, very likely to be a portion of that redistribution. So keep an eye out for that as well, because we're just going to be making these features even more rewarding than they currently are.
So be on the lookout, because loot drops might be getting a little bit of a buff for patrols and whatnot.
I didn't say it, but yes.
Excellent. On that note there, like we have a few questions from some people that are a little concerned about getting involved again. So I guess this is a good time to kind of drop some alpha here as well, that for people that are not only returning but are looking to get started with DFK for this season of Gap. We're looking to kind of do a little bit of an airdrop to get them started on their journey in DFK, or maybe even boost them to do better, right?
We are indeed. So yeah, we are finalizing the details on this front as well. But we have a system in place in the game that we call our voucher system, and essentially what that is we give you a like wrap token. So in the case of Crystal Veil, it would be wrapped crystal, which is what you use to buy heroes, buy pets, buy equipment, any NFT you buy in crystal on the player-to-player marketplace. So we give you a form of wrapped crystal that you can then go and use to buy NFTs. So like I said, we're working out the details, but we're going to have some kind of like registration for that as well, where you can go in, you can sign up, you'll give us your wallet address, and then we are going to send everybody that does so some crystal vouchers to help you on your journey. You can use those, like I said, you can use them to buy heroes, you can use them to buy equipment, you can use them to buy pets, whatever you want to buy, really. So just as a way, whether you played last season, didn't play last season, doesn't matter. Anybody will be able to register to get some of the vouchers to help them kick things off a little bit.
Exactly. So, guys, if you are worried about, the $2 or whatever it costs to get involved, or the gas fees, this will get you on your way, and you guys can start playing courtesy of the DFK team. So really there's no excuse this season round to not give DFK a try. We've literally stacked the deck to make sure that you guys have no barrier of entry.
One thing I will add too, and this is just me trying to be transparent while also not trying to say anything bad about anybody. But we saw a lot of people talk about gas fees with last season. there is a significant portion of this gap season that takes place in Crystal Vale where gas is a fraction, a small fraction of the cost of gas on metas. So even on that front, a lot of the quests, like you're not going to carry the gas cost that you might have seen last season. It's going to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, and even last season, like I was playing, and gas is we're talking pennies here, like small amounts. So
now we're talking fractions of a penny.
Yeah, exactly. And again, if you've been participating in Gap, you should have a decent chunk of gas fees covered by just playing and participating. So it's not like old Ethereum days where gas fees
No.
were looking at like $100 a transaction. So
No. But yeah, DFK chain runs very, very cheap because we got to build it. So we made sure it did. So yeah, on that front in particular, like gas fees are very, very negligible.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So guys, again, really no reason to not get involved this season of Gap. So now I'm just trying to think of, have we not touched on anything exciting? We've leaked a bunch about Gap. We've leaked a bunch about updates. I'm not AC, any exciting things from you that you can think of that we might have missed?
Good question. Let's see. I think we already mentioned, or Balin already mentioned about the airdrop.
I think we've squeezed enough alpha out of all of us.
Yeah.
I think we're at that
Yeah,
point
I'm
there.
having fun chatting with our community. They are flexing their teams and how many teams they got. All
Nice.
the guilds are showing up there. The whales got more than 50 or 100 teams. Uh,
Yeah, well,
let's see.
especially for the whales, if you guys are in on chain guilds, that's where, especially with on the tournament front, you can really help out your guild mates as well. You can only bring one team into a tournament, so if you've got several teams, you might have a couple of good teams, and you can have somebody else run one for you and be another representative of your guild.
Well, and that's, I guess, something else that we can kind of put on. You guys have like a scholarship feature, if I remember correctly, right, where people can loan out heroes.
So not built out in game yet. We will, but right now it is not in game. It's just essentially like peer to peer lending. So do make sure you trust anybody.
Oh, okay.
Of course, but yeah, we are planning a like in-game on-chain rental system where you could rent them out, and I mean you'll be able to like set your price and everything. So if it's guildmate, you could rent them for nothing to them. But we have not put that in game yet.
Okay, so it's not quite there yet. When we're talking about sharing with guildmates, you better trust that person to give back your
Yes.
hero.
Yes.
Excellent.
But good features to watch out for, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, it's a little bit of alpha from you guys. That's another feature that's in the works.
Yeah, you got more out of me.
Sunbear, what are we looking at here? Because again, like maybe now is a good time to just give some more tips and tricks about Crystal Vale. Like I think people are pretty familiar with the realm that we were in last season, but this one has got a lot more going on.
Sunberry, are you there?
Muted.
Of course, I
perhaps?
was muted and sitting here talking to you guys. There we go. Thank you very much. Yeah, there is a lot going on in Crystal Vale. It really is kind of the heart of the DFK experience. What you saw last season is our most recent build. It really is focused on the Metis chain, on PvP, and then of course the patrols is kind of that entry level place to learn that combat engine. In Crystal Vale, you're going to get a lot more, and it can feel a little overwhelming. So that's a really good reason to get connected to the community in Discord or watch a few of those videos that kind of help you walk through. One thing I just did, for example, is I went to the portal and I summoned a new hero. So this is how new heroes actually come into existence into the space. So we actually only sold our original Gen 0 heroes that were put out into the ecosystem, and then from all of those, all the next generation heroes have been created by the community. And so there's over 1.5 million heroes out there. And so when you actually take that voucher that you're going to get just to come and try the game out this season, you're going into these marketplaces that other players have taken these heroes and summoned them, and are selling to you directly from them. So they're not coming from us. So that's kind of a cool thing. We wanted to really involve the community in all of that process. So it's a fun thing because you never know what rarity you're going to get, what hidden class you're going to get when you do some summoning. So maybe you'll have an opportunity to do that. When you do buy your heroes, you want to look and see how many summons they have left on them. As you can see, as you get later in generations, there's going to be less summons, or if it's a more rare class, you'll have less summons on them to be able to create those next generation heroes. So that's kind of a fun thing that I was just demonstrating. There's also just a lot of different marketplaces on here. So for example, if you go to the trader, you're going to find our decks. We're able to trade between any of the items really in the game and major tokens. But one thing that we did create that maybe you did see on the other realm was the bazaar. So let's say you're getting ready for battle and you want to go in, you want to make sure you've got all the potions that you need. You're using potions to kind of sharpen your strategy. You can come in here and search out the potions. And again, this is a peer-to-peer trading place where you can put whatever orders you want, or maybe you made a bunch of potions that you learned how to do in Cristobal and you want to sell them in this place. This is an order book style peer-to-peer trading space that allows you to do that with all of the items in the game, which is kind of a fun thing as well. Other stuff, there's a lot of quests happening inside of this realm. So if you want to do some passive gameplay and you want to go find some of these amazing items, these tokens that allow you to make potions and things like that, you can go gardening, fishing, foraging for plants, mining for gold. Even like training quests that allow you to level up your heroes in various ways. So to kind of boost some of those different stats. So some fun things there as well. I mentioned summoning before, just to make sure summoning and creating a new hero is here in the portal that I just showed you, but you might also venture off onto the side here. I don't suggest you start here, especially if you don't quite know what's going on, but this is the Dark Summoner. This is where you go when you're like, I've got 2 heroes that maybe they're out of summons, maybe you're not really using, or maybe they have the potential to create a really great next generation hero. But when you dark summon, you actually burn the 2 heroes you're summoning from to create your new hero. You'll see them drop into the pit, and then you get a dark summoned hero out of them. So another fun feature here in Cristobal. Anything you want to add, Bolin, before I overwhelm people with?
Yeah. So like Sunbear said, there's a lot that you can do in Cristobal, and the biggest thing is just to not get overwhelmed. You don't have to explore everything all the time. Take it at your own pace. Find what you need essentially. One thing that can be really helpful in that, actually, Sunbear, if you'll go back to the main screen real quick, in the top right, you've got this icon with the 4 squares in it. If you click on that icon, we call that like our quick action. The first screen is all of the different locations, but if you go to the second screen, it's actually sorted, or the second tab, I should say, it's actually sorted by action. So you can go in and say, I want to do a profession quest. And then you can go, there should be an option for profession quests, manage quests. There it is. So you can go to manage quests and it will take you to the right location in game. So even if you know what you're looking to do, but you don't know where, we have an option for navigating that way as well. And then as you go, you learn where the stuff is, and it gets really easy once you've done it a few times. But like anything else, at first it's just this giant world map with a bunch of options. But yeah, once you do it a couple times, you start getting the hang of where different stuff is. I highly recommend using that quick select menu to get started, just because it's a lot easier to sort by action. And yeah, again, we're here to help. So let us know. Tell us how we can help you. We will have some guides for different quests to try to make that a little bit easier up front. But we're here as a resource to help you guys get started, learn the game, and so is our whole community.
Yeah, shout outs to you guys, especially last season. Like I seen you in the trenches answering some pretty rudimentary questions, but again, out there and helping out people, right? The people that
That's what
are
we're here
trying to
for.
figure it out.
That's what we're here for. And you know, I mentioned earlier, like in the YGG server, you're welcome to tag me. I think a few of our community members ended up joining it last season to be there to help as well. And then we also have our Discord server, of course. And you know, I think anybody from YGG that joined our server last season can confirm, like, our community is here for it. They're helpful, they're welcoming, they're friendly. They want to see you know, people come into the game and they want to help people get started. So they're always there as a resource as well.
Yeah, which makes sense, right? Any player driven economy, the more people that you have coming in and participating in said economy is usually an upside, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, we've been around for 3.5 years at this point, and a lot of our community has been here for 3.5 years, or at least 3+ years. So, they've been here alongside us for this whole journey, and they love the game as well. And so, they want to see people have the fun that they're having, get the enjoyment out of it that they see. And so they're always willing to help out and help guide new players to what they are looking for.
Yes. Guys, anybody who's in the chat right now, if you guys have questions for the DFK team, here is your chance. We will open up the floor to you guys, and I will pass it off. Right now, I'm seeing in chat just a lot of people talking about gas fees and how it's not actually that expensive.
Yeah, they're getting excited on the tournaments, on the leagues. It's fun. It's fun to troll with them.
Well, and we
It's an
really built this
advantage now.
season. Oh, sorry. We really built this next season around, yes, being able to get you started, but being able to get you, built up to do some more advanced and competitive things, and to get you into that PvP tournament system as well. So some more advanced steps, and there's just so much more you can dabble around with and different ways of playing this game that we're trying to intrigue you with. But the gap season will kind of be the guide to help you get that started. So no worries there. You'll have lots of good guidance.
So here's an interesting question. We have Moonsalve asking, is there going to be some sort of speed up for patrols? So let's say, obviously, if you're grinding it out and you have a speed, is there a way to like speed it up? Is that something that you guys are thinking about, or you wanted to stay at that current pace, that current time pace?
So it is something that we have talked about, and it's not something that we've really made a decision on yet in terms of offering like a almost a speed run feature. That said, there will not be the extent of grinding patrols this season that there was last season. So, especially if you're a returning player, I wouldn't be too worried on the patrols front, just because most of your quests are going to focus elsewhere. But in general, it is something we've been talking about and kind of trying to weigh out the pros and cons. Because yes, once you've done several patrols, having that kind of speed run option would be very nice. But at the same time, for brand new players, we want them to get the full experience.
One thing as well that I think maybe a lot of people don't know, and I know the patrols, you're in there, you're kind of grinding, you're learning this combat engine. There's tools in here that are going to help you kind of understand how the game works as well. So if you click in this little corner up in the corner on the left hand side, you're able to see what's happening with this particular hero, what like items they're wearing, what armor, what weapons they're using. Even when you go in like to the tournament system, you can watch tournaments and all of their replays and see the moves they're making, see how they've built out their teams. So I can just look and see even who my opponents are in the patrols and see what's going on with them, what their moves are, what their abilities are, things like that. And there's battle logs too. So you can go through and you can see like turn by turn what the strategy was and what happened. So there's lots of ways to like analyze the game, play with the game, and Patrols is just kind of that entry level way of getting used to it and learning how it works, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so there's definitely an added layer of complexity, but really understanding not only your heroes, but looking at the other who you're battling can definitely speed up patrols if you're using moves that are way more effective.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah, patrol can take a lot longer if you only basic attack, for example. One thing too, sorry, this is slightly off topic, but I meant to mention earlier, anybody that completed the premium quest last season, you will be getting a YGG skin in the game. We actually did something with these skins that we've never done before, and it ended up taking us slightly longer than we had anticipated. But we are going to be dropping those out tomorrow at the absolute latest, but probably today. We're going to be delivering them in Crystal Vale, I believe. So keep an eye out for that as well, because you will have the YGG skin, which no one has ever had before.
There, you guys heard it again. It pays to be playing the premium and completing the premium quests, right? We've got various skins for various games, and they end up usually being pretty heavily coveted items out on the marketplace.
And these are fully tradable. There is a secondary player-to-player marketplace for them, so do what you so desire. But yeah, they should be really cool, and I'm really excited to see them in game.
Now we have another question here about leveling or evolution of heroes. So like, could you just touch on like what happens as you level your hero up?
Yeah. So as you level it up, there's a couple of things that happen. So you will get mana and health increases, which are essentially like done automatically, but there's 3 different results that you can get: the low, the medium, and the high. So your general health and mana pools will go up. Outside of that, your stats increase. So you can see here on Sunbear's screen, you have a couple of choices that you get to make. That top box is one stat that is guaranteed a +1. That second box is 2 stats that get a 50% chance of increasing. And then every single stat has 2 different chances of increasing, which are found here on the back of the card. So there's essentially, they're just percentage chances. So you can get up to 3 points on any given stat based on what you choose and your odds on the hero itself. And then as you level up, you also get some bonuses for rarity. So if your hero is of higher rarity, every 5 levels they're going to get some bonuses. And then the other really big piece is that is how you unlock additional skills in combat. So we have a skill tree. If you've played any RPGs, you're probably familiar with skill trees. And every level is a point that you get to spend on that skill tree. Your first skill costs 1 point, your second skill costs 2 points, your third costs 3, and so on and so on. So as you level up, that is also how you unlock additional skills within combat to get stronger.
Perfect. Thanks for answering that. I know some people are a little confused.
AC, the skin. They're getting excited with the skin. They're asking if there's an image of it.
I will grab an image of it. Give me 2 seconds. And real quick, just to answer the second part of that question, no, they do not change class. So the class is permanent, determined at the time of summoning. That is their class. But as they level up, they essentially get stronger within that class.
Yeah, you unlock different moves, extremely strong moves as you level up. Well, while we wait for you to pull up that image there, I do want to dive into this raffle that we have, or giveaway draw that we were running last season, and we're finally ready to pull some names for the winners here. So I'm just gonna pull down your screen here, Sunbear, and pull up the wheel of, well, not wheel of names, wheel of addresses
For the
today.
wheel of addresses.
So, guys, this is in regards to the Bucks giveaway that we had running last season for the people that completed the all the getting started quests for DFK as well. We also had complete the MF Watcher one, so we had a bunch of things to give away here for stuff. And again, so we're going to be choosing 10 lucky winners to receive 1,000 YGG each. So again, if you participated last gap season and completed specific quests, your address should be in this wheel of addresses. So, AC, you have some way to track this, right?
Yep. Yeah. Already prepared. All right. Let's get it rolling.
Let's get it rolling.
All right. Let's go. Yeah, guys. 1,000 YGG.
Again, we don't know names. We just know addresses. So
Yeah, we just know addresses.
we're not going to be calling out winners here. We're just going to be adding this to the list. And
that is the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
1,000
watch out for
YGG.
the last digits. So maybe you memorize your wallet address.
I'm sure there's a lot of cheering somewhere out there.
Oh, it's all in the Discord. People are going.
Yeah. No, they're posting the last digits. So,
Now, while AC continues to spin those for 10, we do have another question here. Is there any benefits to the skins, the YGG skins? Does it give any stats? Does it give any perks, or is it purely cosmetic?
It is purely cosmetic. They just look really cool. But yeah, so all of our cosmetics we have kept purely cosmetic, just to not interfere in the direct equipment market. Because the way that the cosmetics work is basically they override the appearance of whatever equipment you have. So that way there's no concerns about like double dipping on bonuses or anything like that. So they are purely cosmetic, but they do look really cool.
Excellent.
And I will add real quick though, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So yes, they look cool, but they're extremely limited to the people who've earned them. So that makes them valuable on the market. I would hang on to them if I were you personally, but the other thing is anybody can come in and create, let's say, host a tournament and require that one of your heroes competing has that visage. And so there's a whole nother level of exclusivity based on the visage, for example. So you could have a YGG specific, only people who hold that visage tournament.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. And that's like another big thing too. As you said, this skin is an NFT, right? So people could sell it, they could keep it, they could speculate, they could enjoy it, right? Like there's lots of options.
Absolutely.
Yep, that is correct. I'm really hoping that did not mess up what you're doing. It
Nope.
did not. Okay.
Nope, it doesn't.
All right, good. So yeah, once y'all finish up on the wheel of addresses,
all right, we have the last one right now. So yeah, good luck.
Oh, no worries, no rush at all.
Again, we will be making a tweet or announcement with the winning addresses. So don't worry if you haven't had time to quickly look at it. But without further ado, I think that's the last one, right, AC?
That is the last one. Yeah.
Perfect.
Congrats to all the winners.
We will be sending that over to our finance team, and they will be sending out that to the winners. So congrats. And again, it pays to participate in Gap, right? We have all kinds of various rewards, whether it's custom skins, airdrops of bonus YGG tokens. There's all kinds of stuff. So it pays to participate. Now let's swap over to one screen, and there you guys go. There's your teaser of what the skin is going to look like.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is actually sent to me as a GIF file, but I don't know
Oh,
why
there it
it's
goes.
opening weird, so
Yeah.
I'll manually GIF it for you guys.
So there you go.
yeah.
Again, people on stream are getting a early look, right? I don't think this has been published anywhere else.
It is not, and this was an earlier rendition, so it might be slightly upgraded even since this, but it will look overall like this.
Excellent.
I
Well,
just
I
love
hope
that YGG banner. It looks sick.
Yeah, I hope people really completed that premium quest, because I'm sure we're gonna get some people crying now that is there any way else to earn it? And to that I say sorry if you didn't do the premium quest last season. You're out of luck. I don't know if we have a premium quest for this season or cooking up something else, and we're not gonna leak that yet. But all I can say is it might pay to do a premium quest.
It's always worth keeping an eye out.
That's
right?
it, right? You never know what kind of special rewards, because I don't know if we teased at the beginning of the season that we were gonna have a special skin or something. I think we did.
No,
We did talk about it. I don't think we showed anything for it, but we did tell them that there would be
Yeah.
one.
So again,
Yeah.
if somebody didn't notice it, that's kind of on them. We've been teasing these things for quite a while. Last chance, guys. If you want to screenshot that, it's gonna be pulled off in 3, 2, 1. There you go. People can watch the recordings and stuff too, and I'm gonna be sending you the recording as well, Bullen, because I think you guys are gonna be snipping some cool segments for your own socials. So guys, definitely go give DFK a follow and like if you haven't already.
Yeah. And real quick, if you don't mind, one last thing I'll mention. Last season we did it the same way, where we do not require tweeting to participate, because I don't think forced tweeting is a necessary thing. However, you guys rock. Like the social engagement that we saw last season was absolutely incredible. So really looking forward to seeing you guys on Twitter again as well, and just being a part of Gap season 10. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, that's a great point, because in the past Gap seasons we used to have people like do a tweet that was actually how we verified. Now with the API, that's not a big deal. But again, I can't recommend enough, guys, putting a tweet out. God forbid, for whatever reason, we can't find your API data. If you have a tweet that's out there, and for whatever reason the API data isn't coming up, we actually verified a lot of rejected quests based on that data, or based on the tweet, because we actually were able to pull up your account versus actually following that. So again, it's not mandatory to make a tweet, but I would highly recommend, if you have the time, to do it, because God forbid we can't find your API data, we will look on that tweet as a second form of verification. So just putting that out there.
Yep.
Cool. So anything else? Any other closing thoughts from Bullen or Sunbear here before we wrap up the stream?
I'll just say
real quick.
We're both excited. Go ahead, Bullen.
Just real quick, really, really appreciate everybody who participated in season 9. It was a blast for us, and it was really cool to see the participation in our first season. I think we're doing some really cool stuff for season 10 to take it to another level and make it even better. And I really appreciate you guys, Fallen and AC, and everybody else on the YGG team for all the hard work you guys put into every Gap season, and for having us on today to do this AMA. It's an absolute blast. I can't wait to get back into Gap season, and I'll just reiterate again, myself, our team, our community, we are here to help. There's actually a couple of our community members in the Discord chat right now, Kurt and Mark Hookie, who have been answering a few easy questions as they come up. So tag us, join our Discord, use us. We are here to be a resource to you guys.
Excellent. Sunbear, what about you, bud?
Come and have some fun. This isn't just a cool strategic game that you can do in a lot of different ways. Whether you're just enjoying creating new heroes to see what you can come up with. You're enjoying adding to the ecosystem, making a little extra money by making potions and selling them in the bazaar, or maybe just like some PvE content, kind of having some fun grinding out some patrols or learning the boss fights to get some of that big equipment, or you just want to come in and you want to be a part of a group and you want to compete and you want to like be on streams and do the PvP and the tournament experience. It doesn't matter how you want to play, come and be a part of our community. We have a lot of fun. We love giving stuff away. And we love like helping people out. Like people in the community want to build up more and more guild presence, just because they're just having a lot of fun with it. So come and play, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, guys, you heard it here. Definitely, if you haven't given DFK a try, now is a great time to get started. And for people that are in the off season right now is a good time to start grinding and getting an edge, right? We like to leak what games are upcoming in Gap. And usually a lot of times people can get a nice edge early and make grinding out during that season a little bit easier. I will leak, like I said, that Gap is coming very, very soon. It is slated to be, I believe, 8 weeks again in total. So there's your alpha. Again, more details coming very, very soon. And we will be wrapping up this stream, like I said, with a teaser video for Gap Season 10, where who knows, maybe you'll see most, if not all, of the games and activities that are going to be a part of it. So if you stuck around, kudos to you, and I hope you're prepared for a leak. Thanks again, Bolin, Sunbear, for joining us, and as always, AC as well for being my co-host. We will catch you guys in the metaverse.
Bullish.
The metaverse, together we play.
Together we
YGG
play.
fam.
Cheers, guys. Where
Cheers,
is
yo.
this video? Oh, there we go.